Oxidized bronze, polished sandstone, geometric marble lattice, dried oil paint. Indian art operates on a staggering timescale spanning 5 millennia and vast physical mediums. This tradition functions as a continuous ledger of technical innovation and cultural assimilation, linking these disparate materials through a shared philosophical framework. By mapping this timeline from 2500 BC to 1950 AD, we can track how regional developments influenced one another across the subcontinent. The central tension over these 5,000 years is the constant absorption of foreign techniques, like Persian spatial design or European oil painting, into an existing indigenous identity. That identity relies on an uncompromising emphasis on prana, the animating inner breath or vitality of a subject, expressed through sinuous rhythmic forms rather than strict anatomical realism. To see how this lineage remains unbroken despite centuries of outside influence, we must track the precise mechanical and iconographic shifts across 5 foundational eras. The baseline for narrative art on the subcontinent begins in the prehistoric rock shelters of Bhimbetka. Early artists applied iron oxide pigments directly to cave walls to record highly active communal hunting scenes. By the height of the Indus Valley civilization, between 2500 and 1500 BC, the focus shifted to advanced urban planning and structural utility, seen here in the brick ruins of Mohenjo-daro. This era also marks the introduction of complex metallurgy, specifically the cire perdue, or lost wax casting process. This text details the physical characteristics of the dancing girl idol. Her confident posture demonstrates mastery in metal casting. The description of the Harappan male torso reveals a different innovation, modular sculpture. Note the specific socket holes designed for neck and shoulder attachments. These Indus-era techniques, complex metal casting and modular stone assembly, provided the material foundation for later monumental classical sculpture. In the 3rd century BC, the Mauryan period under Emperor Ashoka established the first monumental state-sponsored Buddhist art. If we deconstruct the Sarnath lion capital, we find clear evidence of foreign influence. The high polish finish on these monolithic stone components is a direct inheritance from Persepolitan stonework. Point 5 identifies the Dharma chakra, a crowning wheel representing the Buddhist law and cosmic order. At early sites like the Great Stupa at Sanchi, the Buddha was represented only through symbols like footprints, a Bodhi tree, or an empty throne. The Kushan period marks a structural pivot as the tradition moves toward anthropomorphic or human form representations of the Buddha. The Gandhara school of art emerged in this era. As the text indicates, this style relied on gray schist stone and incorporated hybridized Indo-Greco-Roman elements. The text highlights specific Hellenistic details, linear strokes for wavy hair, protruding eyeballs, and heavy Roman-style drapery. In contrast, the Mathura school used regional red-spotted sandstone. These artists favored sheer drapery and sensuous, fleshy volumes to emphasize the movement of prana. This divergence established the primary tension of Indian art, a regional collision between imported Western realism and an indigenous focus on sensuous vitality. The subsequent Gupta period acted as a golden age, where Buddhist, Hindu, and Jain iconographies were standardized into highly refined formats. This standardization is visible in the Sarnath-seated Buddha. The text details the formalized Padmasana, or cross-folded lotus leg posture. Hand gestures became equally codified. This specific alignment of fingers is the Dharma Chakra Pramartana Mudra, signaling the historical event of the Buddha's first sermon. These standardized forms were integrated into massive, rock-cut environments, such as the interior of the Ajanta caves. These excavations are divided into 2 distinct architectural types, the Chaitya, or stupa halls, and the Vihara, or residential monasteries. Murals like the Padmapani Bodhisattva demonstrate how Gupta artists fused delicate rhythmic line work with substantial body volume. By combining codified religious gestures with massive structural engineering, Gupta artists turned solid rock into continuous narrative canvases. Emergent Hindu dynasties shifted the focus from excavating mountainsides to building freestanding stone temples. Construction split into 2 typologies. In the north, the Nagara style utilized a curvilinear spire. In the south, the Dravida style rose in stepped, pyramidical terraces. The Kandarya Mahadeva temple is an apex example of the Nagara style, defined by extreme verticality and an overwhelming density of exterior sculptural relief. In the south, the Pallava dynasty integrated narrative relief directly into the natural landscape. The descent of Ganga relief at Mahabalipuram maps its narrative onto the local geology. As the text notes, sculptors used a natural rock fissure to represent the mythological river flowing to earth. By the medieval Chola period, artists applied the lost wax method to cast detailed, mobile bronze deities designed for ritual procession. The Chola Nataraja's iconography encodes duality. The upper right hand holds a drum for creation, while the upper left holds a flame for destruction. Below, the Abhayasta gesture of fearlessness balances against the feet suppressing the demon of ignorance. By balancing these opposing forces, creation and destruction, fearlessness and ignorance, within a single figure, Hindu classical art translates abstract metaphysical tensions into permanent, visible forms. The arrival of Islamic populations brought a mathematically driven shift to structural engineering on the subcontinent. Builders transitioned away from traditional post and lintel construction to arcuate architecture, utilizing the load-bearing capabilities of arches, domes, and central keystones. This engineering shift, seen here in the Qutub Minar, was accompanied by a move away from figural sculpture toward geometry, arabesque patterns, and calligraphy. The Taj Mahal represents the ultimate fusion of this Persian spatial design and precise Indian marble carving techniques, such as pietra dura. In the late 19th century, Indian modernism began as a direct reaction against the academic realism imported by the British. Artists adopted divergent strategies. Raja Ravi Varma applied European oil techniques to Indian mythology, while the Bengal school revived indigenous tempera and wash techniques. Amrita Shergill achieved a modern synthesis in paintings like Three Girls, applying a post-impressionist style to document Indian village subjects. Islamic engineering and European painting provided new structural and chemical vocabularies, expanding the technical range of indigenous expression. Tracing this history back from modern canvases, through marble domes, bronze deities, and sandstone carvings, all the way to cave walls, a consistent pattern emerges. The identity of Indian art lies in its capacity for immense technical absorption without the dilution of its underlying philosophy. While materials and methods shift, the foundational mandate, to infuse form with an animating inner vitality, remains unbroken. Modern artists utilizing abstract symbols are participating in a 5,000-year tradition of encoding metaphysical knowledge